What's going on, everyone? Al Bryant here, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, what it means and how does it help small businesses make better use of LLMs. So if you ever ask ChatGPT a question and you wonder, how does it actually know all of this stuff? Well, the way it knows it is through RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. And that's kind of the behind the scenes way that makes the LLM smarter and allows them to use more information than what was used in their training data. So you really need to think about RAG when it compares to standard AI, right? Standard AI searches would be limited to the knowledge that is there from training. That's going to be fixed knowledge that's going to have a cutoff date and become stale after a certain amount of time. And because of this, standard AI may generate incorrect information or may even generate what we would consider a hallucination. Now, when it comes to RAG enhanced artificial intelligence, RAG can be used to retrieve fresh information. It can be connected to real-time external data sources, and it gives you more accurate and up-to-date information because of this versus relying on stale data. So again, as we've said before, RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and it's a way to supercharge AI by combining three of its most powerful abilities. Number one is the ability for LLMs to understand natural language. Number two, the LLM's ability to search for information based on the input from the user in the form of that natural language. And finally, it's actually really good at generating answers based on these two factors: the natural language understanding of the query, as well as being able to search for the information based on that query. And now you can generate answers that were retrieval augmented, meaning the generation itself was augmented by the retrieval of additional information. So standard AI tries to answer based on what it remembers from training, but RAG allows it to look up real-time information and use that to build a more smart, accurate answer. So let's try to explain this from an analogy perspective. It's kind of like writing a report from memory versus writing a report based on current research. So if you're writing from memory, right, it's going to be limited to what you already know, which may contain outdated information and is going to give you a higher chance of having errors or inaccurate information inside of your report. Compared to writing a report with research that you can go look up today, that's going to give you access to the latest information. You're going to have facts that are backed up by reliable, controlled, and curated sources, and that's going to give you more accurate content within your report. So let's just take this through an actual example, right? Imagine you're writing that report and you have two options. You write it entirely from memory, or you use Google to find the latest stats first and then write your report. Obviously, the second option is going to give you the better, fresher, and more accurate content. That's exactly what RAG does for AI. It lets the model fetch the right information from a trusted knowledge base before answering your question. It's like grabbing books from a digital library before writing your paper, compared to writing your paper from memory. So here's kind of how RAG works in a simple flow, and I'm going to give you a little bit more detail through these steps. So the first step is you prompt the LLM or you ask it a question, the same way you would go into a ChatGPT or a Claude and ask it a question. But what happens here is in a RAG implementation, the LLM turns that query that you sent into a query of its own to go and search the knowledge database that it is connected to. Now, this knowledge database could be in the form of PDFs, databases, websites, text files, Excel files, images, right? It could be almost any file type you can think of can be stored inside of this data store. So the AI turns your query into tokens and embeddings, and then it compares that with the tokens and embeddings of the knowledge base. And this is how it's able to find the material in the knowledge base that's relevant to the initial query. So then based on these two factors, it takes that information, the original query, as well as the relevant chunks of information from the knowledge base, and it combines those to then actually in the back end go through and generate an answer. So that's how you can get a highly relevant and accurate answer. So why does RAG matter and why should businesses care? Because RAG reduces a major problem of LLMs, and that is hallucinations. If you don't know what that is, that's when AI basically makes stuff up and it's very obvious to the user that this is inaccurate or incorrect information. Now, in theory, the LLMs always are making stuff up. That's how they work underneath the covers. But when you start leveraging the systems like RAG, you're able to greatly reduce the chances of hallucination because it has a more curated, controlled, and smaller set of data that it just uses the natural language understanding to query that set of data and give you a response. So your answers become much more explainable, and AI can tell you exactly where the answer came from, citing sources and documents that it used to come up with that answer. And your results from that perspective will be verifiable and you can check the source yourself. So with RAG, the secret sauce for smarter AI, you can go from standard smart AI to super smart RAG powered AI. Once again, guys, I'm Al Bryant. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. And now you understand what RAG is and why it matters.